This session introduces sociolinguistic variation with a focus on grammatical variation, specifically Copula deletion. We will use a North Carolina dataset of African American and Latino English to explore how linguistic and social constraints shape the presence or absence of the verb be. This deck is a visual companion to your Unit 4 handout on variation and the copula. It is intended for revision and class discussion, not as a replacement for the original readings. Please always confirm percentages, wording, and references against the primary sources before using them in assessment. Grammatical variation concerns differences in the forms speakers choose beyond pronunciation. Here we examine whether items such as the copula are realized or omitted. As with sound variables, we identify which linguistic and social constraints condition speakers' choice between alternative grammatical variants. Our focus variable is copula deletion, whether the verb be in forms like is and are is pronounced or absent in casual speech. Copula absence is a key feature of African American English and is analyzed here in a North Carolina dataset alongside Latino English, drawing on work by Bonvillain and Labov. Table 2 summarizes copula absence by factor group. It lists the linguistic contexts, such as copula form and following environment, and the socio-demographic factors, ethnicity and gender, alongside their associated percentages of absence. These figures provide the empirical basis for our analysis. 4 factor groups structure copula absence. 2 are linguistic, copula form, contrasting is and are, and following environment, covering 6 grammatical contexts. 2 are socio-demographic, ethnicity, contrasting African American and Latino speakers, and gender, contrasting female and male speakers. First, copula form. The dataset shows that are is deleted more frequently than is, 25.1% compared with 18.7%. This difference reflects a purely internal grammatical constraint. The choice of copula form itself influences the likelihood that the verb will be omitted in casual speech. Next, following environment. Deletion rates vary widely depending on what comes after the copula. They are highest before gonna and uying verbs, around 38%, and lowest before noun phrases and locatives, around 16 to 17%. This 22.7 percentage point spread is the widest for any factor group. Turning to ethnicity, African American speakers in this North Carolina dataset show a higher rate of copula absence at 26.6% than Latino speakers at 14.7%. This between-group contrast illustrates how social categories can correlate with distinct patterns of grammatical variation. Gender also conditions copula absence. Female speakers delete the copula more often than male speakers, 24.6%, compared with 19.2%. In most linguistic environments, then, women in this dataset produce the non-standard zero copula variant at a higher rate than men, reversing the usual pattern. Comparing all 4 factor groups reveals that linguistic influences are strongest. Following environment has by far the largest range, 22.7 percentage points, while the leading social factor, ethnicity, spans only 11.9 points. This aligns with findings that internal grammatical constraints often outweigh social ones. To interpret constraints tables systematically, we follow 5 steps. Read the caption to identify the dataset. Identify the variable and factor groups. Examine proportions and patterns across categories. Account for these patterns using linguistic and social explanations. And finally, express findings in comparative sentences. To answer what influences copula absence here, we group factors into linguistic and socio-demographic. Linguistically, are deletes more than is, and following environment ranges from 16% to just under 39%. Socially, African American and female speakers show higher deletion rates than Latino and male speakers. We can quantify influence using range. Following environment spans 22.7 percentage points, from 16.0% to 38.7%, making it the strongest constraint. Ethnicity, the strongest social factor, spans 11.9 points, gender spans 5.4, and copula forms 6.4. Linguistic factors therefore account for more of the variation observed. Ethnic differences in copula absence can be interpreted as acts of identity. AAE has a long-established pattern of copula deletion, and higher rates among African American speakers, compared with Latino speakers, allow individuals to align with their in-group norms while sounding distinct from neighboring varieties. The gender results reverse a standard finding in sociolinguistics. Trudgill and others argue that women usually prefer standard forms, yet here women delete the copula more than men, 24.6% versus 19.2%. This reminds us that generalizations are probabilistic, and specific variables may pattern against the broader trend. We close with 3 cross-cutting lessons. First, linguistic constraints often outrank social ones, as our following environment range shows. Second, correlation does not imply causation. Ethnicity and gender patterns require explanation. Third, generalizations do not transfer automatically between communities or variables. The final slide lists the key references underpinning this analysis, including Bonvillain, Holmes, Labov, Lepage, and Taburet-Keller, Meyerhoff, and Trudgill, alongside the course dataset. Please treat this deck as a companion to, not a replacement for, the Unit 4 handout and assigned readings.